What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Let's Talk Crypto episode 34. Let me turn on the cam here. How you guys doing? Hope everybody has been doing well. Today we're going to be covering a lot of different things. There's been a lot that's happened over the last week. So we're going to be jumping into everything that happened over the last week news-wise. Then we're also going to be, I'm sorry, let me turn down the music here. There we go. Then we're also going to be talking about the Bitcoin spot ETF. We're going to talk about the Ethereum spot ETF that just happened. And we're going to talk about the CPI data that happened today. That data was released today. And we're going to do, of course, a Bitcoin analysis, price analysis, kind of see where things are as far as price goes. Today, well, the last 2 days, Bitcoin's price has been dropping. We're down about 1.5% today. I think yesterday we had a similar, it was about a 1.5 drop as well yesterday. So we're a bit down. We're down about $2,000 from our year high that we just set a few days ago, really. Last week on Thursday, we set a new high hitting $38,000. So we're gonna take a look at that. There's a few things that concern me a little bit in the short term, not in the long term. Of course, long term, we're about to skyrocket. But there's a few things that I'm watching right now that there needs to be, that I think that's going to bring that pullback at least to like $35,000. So we're gonna take a look at that, and we're gonna do a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we cover in today's video, or just any questions in general of crypto, let us know in the comments section, and I'll cover that at the end of this live stream. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let's start off here with just an overlook of where the market is, where prices are, just to get an idea of where everything is right now. As you guys can see here, Bitcoin's price is currently at just under $36,000, sitting at $35,933. So we actually went a little bit lower than that. The low of the day sits at about 35,707. So we had a little flash crash. What happens when price drops really fast like that and then goes back up is because there is a lot of liquidity down there. There are people that had leveraged positions that probably got liquidated, or short traders got stopped out. So all those traders, when they close out their positions, price drops really fast, and then eventually buyers come back in and move price back up. So that's pretty much what happened, what we saw today, earlier today, and currently price continues to push down. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this in depth, but let's take a look at the rest of the market just to see what's been going on over the last week or so. Over the last week, it's actually been the altcoins that have been outperforming, but more or less catching up to Bitcoin. And we'll talk about the money flow cycle as well in a few. But first of all, we can see that over the last week, Bitcoin is still up. Even though we've been down the last 2 days, Bitcoin's still up about 2% over the last week. Ethereum has, of course, outperformed it. It's at about 6.5%, currently sitting at $2,008. And then we have some of the big dogs here. We have Solana that's continued its rise, sitting at $54 currently. It went up as high as about 62, 63. It was up in the 60s earlier, I think over the weekend or earlier last week. So a few days ago, it was up in the 60s. We have Polygon up 22%. So it finally woke up. It actually hit the 90s as far as almost to $1. So that was a nice move there in Polygon. Chainlink has continued. It was up as high as, I believe, around $15, $16. Currently down to $14. So everything's pretty much been dropping today over the last day or so. We have Polkadot up 6% in the last week. Avalanche has been the main mover here in the top 25, up over 32%. That was closer to 40 earlier on, but it's still up over 32% in the last week. It got pretty close to that $20 mark. So that was one of my favorite buys over when it was literally under $10 like a few weeks ago probably. If we look at Avalanche, let's take a look really quick. We can see in the beginning of October, it went as low on October 19th. So less than a month ago, Avalanche was trading at $8, guys. It was under $9. If you bought at $9 here, you would have literally doubled your money in a span of 2 weeks, pretty much, right? You could have doubled your money in a span of 2 weeks. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity to buy down here. I love Avalanche, so I definitely I didn't buy a bunch, but I added to my positions. Anything under $10, I was just adding like a madman. So let's look at the top gainers and top losers over the last week. We have let me go to the top 100. Okay, we have Celestia. I am not familiar with it, but it's up over 160% over the last 7 days. We have Thorchain Rune, of course, up 50% over the last 7 days. We have DYDX up over 43%. We have Immutable up over 35%, and Illuvium, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with this one either, up over 35. Avalanche, of course, we spoke about it, up over 34%. And Caspa, it's another one of our favorites. It's up over 33%. Solana right behind it with Polygon as well. The biggest losers. So we've had a couple losers here. We have Trust Wallet down 32%. We have Injective down 9%. The Graph down 8%. Neo down 8.5%. AAV down 7.5%. Toncoin down 7%. So that's pretty much our top for the last week. And then, of course, the main thing that happened today, let me pull it up really quick. The U.S. inflation. So if we look at the economic calendar, today was, of course, we had the release of the CPI data. And as you guys can see, U.S. inflation fell to 3.2%. So that was lower than expectations. If we look back here, you can see for 11/14, which is today, consensus was at 3.3%, and it came in at 3.2%. So that's been bullish for the market overall today. I know we don't see it currently in Bitcoin, but for the market overall, it's actually been bullish. We've had basically everything is up. If we go over here and switch over to our futures, we can see in the stock market pretty much everything is in the green. The main things that people follow here are, of course, the S&P 500 that's up 2% today. And we have, of course, the NASDAQ up over 2% as well. And we have the E-mini Russell up about 5% on the day. So a lot of big movements, and that's basically been due to this report, to this data, the CPI report here that came in. Unfortunately, Bitcoin and crypto in general has been decoupled from the stock market for a bit now, so it's not currently moving with the stock market as of this moment, because of course if you look at at this chart, which is this is a S&P 500, and you compare that to Bitcoin's chart, they're gonna look very different, since S&P 500's been just pretty much trending down since about July. And of course, as we can see here, in July, even though we did trend down a bit, we bottomed out around September, and basically have been on a rampage ever since, right? And if you look at the S&P, it has continued down until just recently this month, basically, when it started moving back up. So we're decoupled right now from the stock market overall, so that's why you can see that the S&P right now is up 2%, while Bitcoin's down 2% today, based on that CPI data. So now with the new CPI data, the next thing that we want to kind of look at is the interest rate probability. So there's another meeting next month on the 13th of December, and pretty much the market is already saying, okay, a 100% chance of a pause. But if we look further down the road, I believe in May, this is the earliest we've ever seen this. May is now what the market is anticipating here for a rate cut. So before, when we were looking at this, we probably looked at it last week, and we were looking into like June, July, September, when the market was starting to say that there was going to be cuts. Now we can see that as early as May. This is the earliest that we've seen these as far as the probability for a rate cut. Now this lines up basically with the Bitcoin halving, right? So if we put Bitcoin halving countdown and we pull that up, that is going to happen on the 30th of April. That's the estimated time. We don't know for sure yet. This could change because depending on the rewards on the blocks, this is based on blocks, not on time, right? So based on the blocks, it kind of gives an estimate of when that's going to be. So right now it's estimated for the 30th of April. And that's going to basically coincide with a potential rate cut. So that would be massive, guys. That's massive for all investments, really, especially high risk, what's considered riskier assets, which is the bucket that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies falls under, right? So that would be massive, and that's just gonna add on to the fuel of the fire, because I by then I'm expecting Bitcoin to be rolling. I mean, we're already rolling, right? So by then we could be pushing, I think, probably maybe 50K and beyond at that point. So very excited for that. Now let's go over some news, guys. Before the news, let me take a look at say hello to a few of the people that are in the stream right now. So if you guys are currently in the stream, make sure to drop a hello, hi, or a question in the chat. Let me say hello to Giannis. Appreciate you you jumping in. He said that you helped me a lot with your previous week video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that I was able to help. Vishu Babu, how long you do your next live? Well, we're doing it every week right now, Vishu. How long it's gonna be? We're usually live for about an hour. And we have Ducky Dave in here. He has a question. I'll save that for the Q&A span of this live stream. So I'll come back to you, Ducky Dave. No worries. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the news of the last week since we last spoke, right? So let me jump back to the monitor here. Let me take a sip of water really quickly. As we look at the first piece of news here, this is from about 5 days ago. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy Bitcoin sits at $1 billion in profit. Guys, that is insane, right? $1 billion in profit. Of course, they hold, they've bought a lot of Bitcoin during this bear market. So in October, MicroStrategy acquired an additional 155 Bitcoin for 5.3 million. Now the firm holds 158,400 total Bitcoin. That is insane, if you ask me. So if you guys invest in the stock market, I mean, apart from Bitcoin, right? If you guys are investing in the stock market, MicroStrategy could be a company that you could potentially invest in if you want. I mean, I already have a lot of exposure to cryptocurrency. Basically, the majority of my portfolio is in crypto, especially with the bear market. I've thrown everything into crypto. But if you don't have a lot of exposure and you want exposure maybe through the stock market instead of just through Bitcoin itself, wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe buy some MicroStrategy here. I want to check out this calculator here. So that this is the Saylor tracker. This is interesting. I've never looked at this. So we're looking at this for the first time together here. So it looks like this is cool. So it tracks everything. When I'm guessing when they bought, the average purchase price, the amount of Bitcoin, the cost, the current value, and the P&L. So that's pretty cool. So what they bought, their last buy was at 34,495. Whoops, I didn't mean to change whatever this was here. So currently it looks like all time they're up. Oh, it actually dropped back under $1 billion. But they're up about 19.65% all time, just under $1 billion in profit. That is wild to even think about, guys. They have their portfolio, their Bitcoin holding is worth $5.66 billion. That's crazy. Their dollar cost average is at $29,874, and they hold 158,400 Bitcoin. All insane numbers, guys. So that shows you the power of dollar cost averaging, especially during a down market, which is exactly what they did. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to get anywhere near these numbers, but you can definitely get a good amount of your investment in by dollar cost averaging, especially during down markets, and just make, you know, crazy profits. So, as sometimes some of them could be life changing. So this is awesome to see here. So let's continue though. In other news, BlackRock confident SEC will approve spot Bitcoin ETF by January. So that's kind of what they're thinking. They're thinking that this is going to be done by January. Now we had a run last week, in part because some people thought that there was an open window where the spot Bitcoin ETF could potentially get approved by the 17th of this month. So in the next 3 days is basically that window. Now there still hasn't been any word on this, but it looks like BlackRock is thinking that by January. Obviously there's no way to know specifically when we might get that approval, but the only thing that I can say, guys, that approval is coming. It's inevitable, and it's only a matter of time. So how can you best play this? Now, the worst thing you could probably try to do is try to guess the timing, because guess what? You're not going to guess the timing. I can't guess the timing. None of us can guess the timing unless we have, of course, inside information. Now, if any of you have some inside info, please send me a DM with that, because I would love to have that as well. So how can everyone else get with that Bitcoin ETF? How can you play it? Guys, you just have to kind of position yourself during this time before the ETF is officially approved. So because eventually when it does get approved, Bitcoin's price is going to run up, right? We saw it. If we look back here at Bitcoin's price, let me pull it up real quick. Oh wow, we just had a massive move to the downside, guys. Let me pull this up really quick. While we've been talking here, Bitcoin just had a massive move down. Hold on, guys. This might be a good spot to load up here. Hold on. Give me a sec, guys. I had to put out a signal really quick here. I'm trying to open a trade here really fast. But Bitcoin's currently at $35,000, guys. It just dropped $1,000 in a matter of moments. So just give me a few here while I set up some orders. I'm definitely adding to my positions here. So I just opened basically a position at $35,000 for Bitcoin, and at 1950 it looks like for Ethereum. So I'm opening a long position here, and it's gonna be a small position. I'm not gonna open up. I don't want too much risk. You can see that we just went as low as, let's see, 34,469 was where we just went. Hold on a second. I have to fix the signal that I sent out in my group really quick. 35,250. Yeah, so just to give you guys an idea, I'm setting up my take profits, and hold on a second, let me make sure I have them right. Okay, so I'm setting up my take profits. The way I'm setting up my take profits for this trade is at every $250, I'm taking a little bit of profit here. So I opened my trade up at 35,000. I'm taking my first take profit at $35,250. I'm taking my next one at 35,500 and my next one at 35,750. Now, rule of thumb is take 25% of your position at each of those areas. And I'm setting, by the way, I'm setting my stop loss up at about, let me see. So usually what I like to do is look at these recent lows here, and obviously the daily low. We just kind of flushed below this number right here. So it looks like this is the safest spot for a stop loss right now. So let me just kind of point that out. And I know we were doing the news, guys, but when things like this happen, you gotta just kind of you gotta kind of go with it, right? You know, an opportunity presented itself. So we're doing a trade live here right now. So we're currently waiting on that first take profit to hit for us. Where it's at 35,250 is that first number. So we're almost there. And we're setting our stop loss right about here, which is right under 34,400. So now that we're thinking about it, if we're gonna set our stop loss this low, usually you want at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward. So a 250 would be more around 750 for your stop loss. So you can set yours there. Now I am setting mine's lower. You can see our first take profit just hit here. Let me just send out this signal. All right, sorry about that, guys. So we just took some profits there. Now, if we hit 500, we're gonna take some more profits here. So if we hit 35,500, we're taking profit again, and then that last point is gonna be 35,750. So we take 25% at each point, right? The idea is we're gonna take 25, 25, 25. It's gonna leave us with 25%. So what do we do with that last 25%? You have several options. One, you can put a trail stop on it. And two, you can set up a stop loss at the previous take profit. So at 35,500, for example, and just move it up as price moves up with it. So that's the rule of thumb. That's usually the easiest way to set it up. And what that last 25% of your position is, that's called a runner. So the reason you want to kind of always have a runner is because if price continues to run up, you want to at least have a little bit of skin in the game and have that ride up, right? You want to be able to take that ride up for Bitcoin there. So that's usually why we do that. And not just with Bitcoin, but with anything really. You want to be able to have a little bit of at least a small position still in it. So when it rides up, you just kind of trail it with a trail stop. You usually, to manage trades, I like to look at the 30-minute, the hour. I like to start at the hour. I look at the hour. I look at the 15-minute, right? These are the two that I look at and to manage my trade. So right now in the 15-minute, we can see that we're in oversold territory, right? And we're setting up the pattern that the candlestick is a bullish pin bar. So this means that there are a lot of buyers down here in this area. They're soaking up all the sell orders, and it's pushing prices back up. So and you can see whenever we go this far, if we check back, right? And now it's been a while since Bitcoin's price has dropped this much, right? But we can see right here, last time we were oversold was in this area right here, and what happened after that? Bitcoin's price went up. Last time over here, we're oversold. This area right here, Bitcoin's price went up. Now, it's not always going to go up right away. Sometimes it could take some time. But just to kind of get an idea, it gives me an idea of where the price is at the moment based on some of these short-term signals, right? So it's telling me it's oversold. So we're due for a price to move back up at least a little bit, even if we get some continuation after that. So you can see right here, we have also that bullish pin bar. So that's usually another bullish signal there. So those are two different bullish signals there that I'm seeing. Also, we're at $35,000. $35,000 is, of course, a big support area for Bitcoin. As you can see, we kind of zoom out here. Let's look at the daily. If we zoom out, look at where I have well, this line, I just put this line there. This is below the recent lows, right? But if we remove this, where has Bitcoin's price just kind of consolidated? And you can see it's at that $35,000 range. So all that tells me that this is a good support to potentially build up a position at. And looking at Ethereum, you can see Ethereum went to this area right here, 1935 area. It went actually as low as 1917. I'm upset I wasn't able to buy it at 1917 because I wasn't looking at the chart. And we're all the way back to 1960s, right? But you can see that it went to that support, and we kind of zoom out a bit. We can see that that's always been a big area for Ethereum. So that's a big buying opportunity there, in my opinion, because it was a big resistance before, and now I expect it to be a big support here. So anything down here is a good buying opportunity for Ethereum, in my opinion. But this is looking back at Bitcoin, you can see that we just had this drop on the smaller scales. On the 15-minute, we can see things are oversold here, right? We have a bullish pin bar, so I'm happy building a position here at 35,000 right now. If we zoom, let's go into the 5-minute. 5 minutes, pretty much showing the same exact things here. Oversold. We're in. We have a bullish pin bar yet again there. I generally don't go into anything beyond that. I think anything beyond that is too much noise. Like when you go into like 1 minute, 3 minutes. So 5 minutes is the furthest I zoom into it. And I only do that when I'm in a trade and I'm managing a trade. I don't really go into 5 minutes to look for trades, right? I just do that to manage a trade when I'm already in one, which we are. I entered my position at 35,000. For those of you that were here when the price just dropped here. So on the 15-minute, everything pretty much looks the same. How we just broke it down. On the 30, we're seeing something similar. We have that potential bullish pin bar there. Let's see if that holds up there. And of course, we already spoke about why the $35,000 area, why we consider it a big support area there. So a big move here in Bitcoin. You can see 35,000 is holding up here. I would love it for it to hold up. If you haven't entered a trade and you want to enter a trade, as close to 35,000 as possible. And then I would say, because I set up kind of a wide stop, but I already took partial profits on my position at 250. So I would say that if you're taking a trade now and you haven't hit profit set, since if you decide to take it, your first profit at 250 like me, 35,250 like me, set a stop loss at 34,750. So you at least have a 1-to-1 risk to reward there, and you should be fine. So that's kind of how I set up this trade here when we bounce back up. So I just sent that signal out to my group. So if you guys were watching here live, you guys should have been able to catch that as well. That was a big position there. A big move there in Bitcoin. So my next target right now is $35,500. So I'm just I already have my order set, and I'm just pretty much waiting on that right now. Should we continue? Should we continue with the news, or? And the crazy part is, one of the things I wanted to talk about in today's live stream is that the bearish divergence. So if we zoom out back here to the daily, I already kind of had it drawn out. And this was one of the main things that I wanted to kind of discuss. As you can see, I have my markings here with the price going up. And then I had here on the RSI momentum dropping, right? So what exactly does that mean for Bitcoin? That's called a bearish divergence. So usually when a bearish divergence forms, That means that the RSI, you can see RSI as a momentum indicator. When the RSI and the price are going in opposite directions, that's a divergence, right? There could be bullish divergence, there could be bearish divergence. This one's bearish because price is going up, and as price has continued to go up and set up higher highs, we can see the RSI, the momentum indicator, has been dropping. So if momentum is dropping but price is going up, like it doesn't make sense, right? So usually when there's something like this happening, when you see momentum dropping but price continuing to move up, it's a signal for a top or reversal in the short term. We're looking at it on the daily time frame. So that's on the short term. So where could that drop? How far could that drop actually be? Well, it could be down to 35,000 is actually the first support here for Bitcoin. So that would be the first support that I'd be looking at. The next one after that, I would probably say is closer to that $32,000 range. That's another big support here for Bitcoin. And then the final one is around $30,000. And that the $30,000, if we pull it up here, we put on some moving averages, and we also put on the volume. So you can see right now this is our 50-day moving average, is currently sitting at about $32,000. So that's probably, if we lose $35,000, I would say that we would potentially test that 50-day moving average. And if we were to test that, that's currently sitting at about $32,000. Now, the next big support here for Bitcoin would be 30,000, because of course it's a massive whole number. And we also have the 30,800 has been a massive support here for Bitcoin. And then after that, we have this $28,000 range that also has the 200-day moving average, and this basically support here that we've been on since November of last year when we bottomed out. So that's pretty much been holding us over here, and that would be probably the one of the final lines of defense here. I don't think we go below this since we have been setting up higher highs and higher lows. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at it right now, and the supports that I'm watching. Obviously, the resistance is gonna be that top where we just topped out at $38,000. That's a massive resistance there. I don't expect us to just break above that right away. Beyond that, though, once we do break above that, there's nothing really holding us back from $40,000, which is of course a psychological resistance level there, and $42,000, which has historically been a big level for Bitcoin. It was previously a previous all-time high during the last bull market. So you could see that it's about this level right up here. So you can see that was a previous all-time high there. So those are the next two levels that I'm watching once we do break above this current resistance at $38,000. Now, looking at this, you can see we're about to hit our next target. So this is why, guys, I had to jump in the trade so fast. These trades happen fast. And usually when there's a big move really fast in one direction or the other, it bounces really fast as well. So I love whenever there's a big overextended move in one direction. I love to jump in trades in the opposite direction, because something like this usually happens, especially when the move is in the direction of the trend, right? So this move, the flash down was in the direction of the opposite of the trend. So our position that we built is in the direction of the actual trend. So if we think that we're gonna get back above this support here, you know, we just caught basically the perfect entry there, because that support, it's about 35,600 ish, right? And if we think that we can get back to 36,000, which is where we just dropped from, we just caught the perfect move there. So hopefully some of you guys caught it with me. I know it was a fast moving one, but that's the way crypto is, man. Crypto is a lot of times you got to be on the ball, right? You got to be prepared. I'm still upset I didn't catch this Ethereum move here. It went down all the way to 1917. I'm upset I did not catch that. I would have loved to long there at 1917. I ended up longing at 1950. So if you caught Ethereum at 1950 with me, you could probably take some profits here. You're up about $25, $26, $27 now from the entry. I would take I'm gonna take 25% here, and then the next target will probably be 2,000. And 2,000, I honestly like to build a position. If you're a swing trader, you can hold that position, and if it drops lower to the 1900 area, like I said, this is a big support here. I would be more than happy to build a position here at 1900. So yeah, if not, another move that you can do, if we see price break back above 2,000, I don't mind entering at $2,000 either. I think 2,000 is a good spot to build a long-term position here for Ethereum. If you're a swing trader and you want to hold it for for a few days, or you want to hold it for a week or whatever it is, especially a leveraged position, $2,000 in this area here is not a bad spot. Obviously, down here is the best spot to build your position is around 1900, but I don't mind building it up here either. So you can see that we actually have here a golden cross on Ethereum as well. We spoke about Bitcoin's golden cross last week. If you guys didn't check it out, we did a video on Bitcoin's golden cross where we spoke about not only Bitcoin's golden cross, but a double golden cross, meaning that basically exactly what I said, right? We got two golden crosses. You can see it in Ethereum as well. We got a golden cross here and a golden cross here. You can see what happened last time we got a golden cross in Ethereum. We were at about, let me see, where's price? $1,500, and we ended up going as high as 2,100. And now recently we just had this golden cross as well, while we were sitting at about $2,055. Who knows how high we'll go in the next few weeks, next few months, right? So good spot to open a position here. Anytime we've had a double golden crosses before a bull market, it's basically signaled the bull market and prices have gone up long term. So 3 out of 3 times that's happened. So it's a pretty good long-term signal and indicator there when you see 2 golden crosses. So let me take a look back at Bitcoin here. Let's see. Let's go back to our 15-minute time frame. See how high we've gone here. All right, so we haven't hit our second take profit as of yet. We're still waiting on that. Oh man, that was a crazy move, guys. But it's a move that we've been waiting for, right? We've been pretty much waiting on the move back down. Like we've been talking about, all right, when are we getting that move back down? Because we can't just continue going up forever. So it's healthy for the price of Bitcoin when we do get a move down like this. So and this was one of the main things I wanted to talk about in today's video, was this bearish divergence here, where I expected some type of move down at some point soon. So I didn't expect to get it right now while streaming live, but it just happened while we were here live, and we were able to take a trade with you guys that already hit our first take profit. We opened it at 35,000, about to hit our second. So let's see what happens there. I'm gonna take some questions, and I know we kind of skipped. Let's see where we were on the news. So we had spoke about BlackRock and their ETF. The other news that I wanted to speak about was BlackRock officially files a spot Ethereum ETF application, which is why we saw Ethereum last week. We had this move, a 12% move in one day. So it went from $1,800 all the way up to $2,100 in one day when we got the news about the BlackRock filing for that ETF application. In other news, U.S. options exchange CBOE launching margined Bitcoin futures. So what exactly does this mean? It basically means that when you're holding a position, instead of just if it moves 1%, you only get a return of 1%. Instead of that, you're gonna get margin. So when it moves 1%, for example, you'll be able to get a little bit more. If it had 10x margin, for example, then you get up to 10x, right? So a 1% move would basically give you a 10% profit. Now I'm trying to look through here to see if they're giving any idea on what that margin Bitcoin future is going to look like. I don't see any numbers here, but that's definitely interesting. We already spoke about the U.S. inflation falling to 3.2%. China's Boya Interactive to spend $90 million on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically, they're buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and adding it. Let me see. It's a Hong Kong listed company. So it looks like the plan is currently pending approval with its shareholders. So it's definitely interesting. Like I said already, there's a lot of money that's about to come into the crypto industry, guys. So you guys have to be prepared. The best way to prepare yourself is to just stop trying to wait for the bull run. Stop trying to wait for the best time to buy and just dollar cost average, guys. And then this news came out today. BlackRock says USDT and USDC stablecoins pose risk to Bitcoin. So this one actually just came out probably like an hour or two ago. I didn't even get to read it. But the BlackRock, let's read it together. The BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF filing that was made public includes exposure to stablecoins under its risk factors. The entire digital asset sector has anxiously awaited the potential approval of the offering since the initial filing. Let's get to the good part. Let me see. Moreover, the document discusses the risks. Trying to see. So basically in their filing, they disclose exposure to stablecoins as Bitcoin ETF risk factor. So it doesn't say, it notes that it does not invest in the specified asset but maintains indirect exposure. So basically they're saying they don't have any USDT or USDC, so they don't hold any stable coins. But, and I mean, this is something that we've all known, it's an indirect exposure. Because if anything were to happen in USDT or USDC, that directly affects Bitcoin, because a lot of people use USDT and USDC to, you know, when they're not in Bitcoin or in crypto. So it says, while the trust does not invest in stablecoins, it may nonetheless be exposed to the risk that stablecoins pose for the Bitcoin market and other digital asset markets. Thereafter, the company explains what a stablecoin is and that its market value may fluctuate. So, of course, that means if the value of it drops from $1 where it's supposed to be as a stablecoin below $1, then of course it would be a massive panic that would drive prices lower. Yeah, so that's pretty much all that says there, and yeah, that's pretty much it there. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin, see where we're at now. So we still haven't made that move up. We were, oh my God, we're so close. We hit 35,493. We're $7 away from our second take profit. Jesus, that always sucks when you're that close to taking a little bit more profit. All right, let's take a look at our liquidity pools here. Let's kind of zoom in a bit to see what is going on. So this is a 12-hour one. So we can see all this little pool. It wasn't a big pool by any margin, but this small pool here, basically we took it out and we're moving back up slowly. The biggest liquidity pool at this moment, well, the most immediate one is just above 36,000, and then the biggest one is at about $36,600. Let's take a look at the 7-day. On the 7-day, you can see that we had a lot more liquidity here that just got hit. So let's kind of take a look at that. So we had liquidity down here at 35,800. That was hit earlier. And guys, pay attention to the price and the liquidity pool, right? So the liquidity pool is the brighter the spot, the more money there is there sitting there, right? So this was the most immediate one today, and look at what happened there. We hit it, and then price jumped right back up, right? And then the next liquidity pool became down here at 35,200. And what did price do? Hit it. Not only hit it, but took it way down here and bounced right back up. So liquidity pools are basically a magnet for price, right? So what does that mean? Why does price go to liquidity pools? If there's investors with a lot of money, whales, aka whales, right? And they're looking to fill their orders. For example, BlackRock, or for example, the company we just read about that's looking to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin. If they just buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, it's gonna move. The Bitcoin market is already big enough where it fills pretty good, and you'll pretty much fill the majority of your order wherever it is that you buy. Now, obviously, the more and more money you have, the more the price is gonna move. But for example, if you're looking to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin and price is in a spot where there's not a lot of liquidity, let's say that there's $50 million in liquidity at $35,000, and you're looking to buy $100 million worth of it, then you're going to move the price because you're going to eat up all that liquidity there. So what you'll notice price do a lot is go up to these big liquidity areas, and these whales have their orders set up there to eat up that liquidity. So you'll see a lot of times price will do something like that and bounce right back, or something like that and bounce right back. So that means, there's a lot of buy pressure came right back in as we broke that liquidity pool. And that's kind of one of the reasons behind it. Now other things that happen at areas where there's a lot of liquidity, there's a lot of traders that are getting liquidated there. So their positions are closing. And there's a lot of traders that have stop losses at those areas as well. So their positions are closing as well. So it all kind of plays a factor. It's all big piece that kind of plays together, right? If we zoom out a bit more, we go to the monthly. You can see at the monthly, we've pretty much ate up all the liquidity to the upside and to the downside. Now the major liquidity here is at about $28,000 right now, but this has slowly been moving up. So I expect this to keep moving up probably to about $30,000. I don't expect to see prices drop down to $28,000 again. But we could see prices drop down maybe to $30,000. So that's just kind of an idea there. Now, just because I don't expect it doesn't mean that it's not a probability or a possibility, guys, right? We know Bitcoin is a wild, the way it moves, it doesn't care for technicals. It doesn't care what about opinions. It doesn't care about anything. So you just got to be careful when looking to trade it. So yeah, we still haven't hit our second take profit there, but you can see for the most part, we've already hit our first one and we're in profit. Let me see what that profit looks like at this point. If we just kind of get our long position, well, actually, let's just kind of get a price range. If we put our buy, our entry was around 25. So currently where it sits, if you're using 10x leverage like I do, you're at about a 10% profit. So that's pretty much where we currently are at. If it hits our second take profit area, it'll be at about a 13% profit. And our third area would put us at about a 20% profit. And if we get a runner, if we leave a runner and let it go up, beyond 36,000, we could get up to about 36% profit on that trade. So we'll keep watching this here. I think that's pretty much, I've pretty much covered everything that I kind of want to talk about today. I'm gonna take some questions now, guys. If you guys have any questions about anything that's going on currently, anything we've discussed, anything in the market, just drop it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to cover those for you guys. And we'll continue to, I'm gonna leave this on the price, so you continue watching it here to see if we hit that second take profit area. So Ducky Dave had a question earlier. He said, what's your number one altcoin pick for the next bull run that you think will perform best? Honestly, I don't have a number one altcoin pick, because it's pretty much up in the air. However, what I did earlier this year was let me see if I still have that chart. I should have it. Give me a sec here. I know I have it here somewhere. Hold on. I have it in a spreadsheet where basically what I did was go back and look at look at what happened if you invested in the top 10 coins, the top 25 coins, if you invested in the 26 through 50, the 51 through 75, 76 through 100, or if you just invested in the top 100 coins overall, what that scenario would look like, right? And I'm gonna pull it up here on the screen so you guys can kind of get an idea here. And this is pretty much what happened. These are the results, right? So we looked at it from the 2018, the top of 2018 to the top of 2021, right? And then what we did was we looked at what would have happened if we bought during the bottom of that previous bear market and sold at the top. What would those results look like? So we started with the top 10, right? For the top 10, we said, okay, we're putting $1,000 in each coin. What happens if we just bought the top 10 coins, right? If we just literally came here, we put $1,000 in Bitcoin, 1,000 in Ethereum, 1,000 in Binance, 1,000 in XRP. Now, obviously, we're skipping the stable coins. We're not putting 1,000 in that because that's pointless. So we're skipping Tether, USDC. So those two. So that means that we go out all the way out to Toncoin, right? So Solana, Cardano, Doge, Tron, Matic, and Ton. and we took those, we just put 1,000 in that, let's say, and we're just making up the scenario right now, and we put it in and just left it to the top of Bitcoin's bull run, right? And then it kind of gave us an idea. So these were the top 10 coins in 2018, right? And this is their price. Let me see. I'm trying to see the price at the bottom. So 2016, 11, 14. So this was basically the bottom price in 2018 during that bear market when we hit the bottom, right? Bitcoin's bottom was about 3,184, right? And then at that time, this is as of December 16, 2018, if you would have put $1,000 in each of these coins, this would have been your return when Bitcoin hit a top. And this is not even the exact top. This is the week of the top. So you would have a week to sell, basically. You'd have a week to buy, a week to sell, because this is a snapshot during that week, during that week. So it gave you plenty of opportunity, and these are the returns, and you can see basically what you ended up with there. So when we went here, the top 10, so our return, if we would have just bought the top 10 coins at the bottom of the market, it would have returned us 1,608%, right, to our portfolio. So if we invested $10,000, that would have turned into $160,000. That's crazy, right? That's a 16x on your return. If we would have done the same thing for the top 25 coins, now instead of just investing 10,000, of course we're investing 25,000, but you can do this with any number. I did 25, 1,000 per coin just to keep the math as simple as possible. And you can see that this had even a bigger return. It returned 1,846%. So a $25,000 investment would have made you would have had it would have made you $461,000, basically $500,000 with a $25,000 investment in the span of 3 years, right? Because you're buying in 2018, December 2018, you're selling. you would have bought December 2018, sold November of 2021. This is your return. You would have made $500,000. Then what we noticed is as we got further away from the top 25, the worse the performance was. So you can see another thing is a bust. So bust means that the coin went to zero or went negative during that span. So in the top 25, no coins here ever went to zero or went negative during that time span. So you would have made money on every single altcoin that you bought. Now, when you go into the 26 through 50, things change. And you can see that 7 projects went to either zero or negative, meaning that they didn't go to zero, but they didn't make you a profit. So now your return is a lot lower. Your return would have been 435%. If you would have done the same thing for the 51 through 75, another 7 projects went to either zero or negative, and even less profit, 254%. 76 through 100, even more projects busted here. 9 projects either went to zero or went negative. You would have made a 351% profit. And then if you would have put $25,000 in the top 100. So you basically broke down the top 100, right? $250 by 100, right? 250 into every single coin. Overall, 23 coins would have busted. 23 projects, basically a quarter of the coins in the top 100 either went to zero or at least went negative. And your return would have been 821% during that time span, which is still really good, right? Your $25,000 would have turned into $205,000. Not bad, right? And then when we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, then we're like, wow, if we would have just put our money in Bitcoin, we would have made more than everything else. And if we would have just bought and held Ethereum, we would have made even more, because buying and holding Bitcoin alone, you would have made $500,000. Buying $25,000 worth of Ethereum alone, it returned over 5,000%, guys. Your $25,000 would have turned into 2.5 million. So now, history, just because that happened last time doesn't mean that's exactly how it's going to work out this time. Especially with Ethereum, I don't think Ethereum's going to have a 5,000x. Bitcoin, I don't think Bitcoin's going to have a 20x again. So you can expect these numbers to be lower. But, and you could expect these numbers to be lower as well. But the main thing that we got from this study is that if you're going to be investing, if you're not sure where to invest, the top 25 is going to be your best bet. Stick to the top 25 coins. Divide your investments throughout the top 25, and they're going to end up having the best results overall. So that's the best thing I can tell you. I don't have a number one coin that I think is going to outperform the rest, but I would say, something in the top 25, if you're just kind of, if you focus your money there, the majority of your money, and then put about 5% into dart throws, basically, that's outside the top 100, I think that's probably the best way to kind of play it, because there's nobody that's going to be able to tell you, what coin is going to outperform the rest of the market. That's just impossible to really know. I hope that I know it didn't answer your question specifically, but hopefully it gave you at least an idea of what that answer looks like. All right, we got Vishnu Babu. I hope I'm saying your name right. He says, what is BTC ETF mean? It's an exchange traded fund. So basically the same way that there's, if we go back, if we just pull up here, ES. So the same way that there's S&P 500, right? The S&P is an ETF. It's an exchange traded fund, and it just follows the top 500 stocks in the stock market, right? So an ETF is going to be something that's traded in the stock market that follows the price of Bitcoin. So that's basically, as in simple terms, that's what it is. The easiest way to think about it, it just follows Bitcoin's price, and you're able to trade it on the stock market. So that's the big part, that you can trade it in the stock market. Right now, Bitcoin, you cannot trade in the stock market. There's no Bitcoin in the stock market. If you want to trade Bitcoin, the closest thing is in the futures market, which is not the same thing though. So here's Bitcoin in the futures market, right? You can see, look at its price, 35,510. But the price right now is at 35,450, right? So that one's kind of off. That one somewhat follows Bitcoin's price, but not really, right? That one's always a bit off. So in the stock market, it'll be something completely different, and it's something that doesn't exist yet. It's going to be an ETF, stands for Exchange Traded Fund. So Giannis says, how is it possible for some sites to know the liquidation price of users? I think that is not completely legal. So I'm not sure exactly how they get that information. I know it could be done through like order books. I think that's something that you can, if you look at order books, you look at where there's a lot of buy orders and things like that. You can get an idea of where there's a lot of orders. And if you look at, like, I've never really looked into it, so I don't have an exact answer, but I know it's based on, order book. It's based on where traders have their positions, right? So I think that there's a way where you can see where traders are taking their positions where there are buy orders, right? Because buying and selling is all on chain. So all that information is for the public, right? We can see all that information if you know where to look. Now, hold on. I'm trying to pull up. That's not what I want to pull up here. Where is it? Liquidation levels. So this is all, it's all public information, right? So we can see here, and this is all from the blockchain. The blockchain is what gives us that information where people are opening and closing trades. And then it shows if they're opening leverage trades, you can see here that it shows how many people have, how much money is in short liquidations with 25x leverage and things like that, right? So I'm thinking it has something to do with all of that combined, and it's able to give you an idea of where the liquidity levels are. So I don't think these are always exact numbers. Just like everything else in trading, I don't think there's exact numbers, but there's areas and there's ranges, and that's really all you need when you're trying to trade and when you're trying to put pieces to the puzzle together. You don't need an exact number. You just kind of need a range, right? You need an area to give you an idea when you're putting that puzzle together, right? So you're trying to figure out this puzzle, and if you have 3 or 4 different things telling you an area where price might go, and then you look at this kind of gives you some confirmation that you're going in the right direction, right? So that's one piece of the puzzle. It just because there's a bunch of liquidity here doesn't mean price is gonna go there. It just there's a chance it might go there. It's just one of the pieces to the puzzle. And when we look at the monthly one, right? This is a longer term one. You can see that the liquidity right now is showing basically at $28,000, right? Before, it was showing this exact huge yellow liquidity all the way down at like $20,000, and that has slowly moved up, right? So, we never went down there to that $20,000 area, even though there was massive amounts of liquidity down there. And I think, especially on these longer term ones, just because there's a lot of liquidity doesn't mean we're going to go there. But if we start going in a certain direction, there's different indicators indicating that we might drop in a certain direction. That's when that helps you, right? It's just one of the pieces to the puzzle. So it's not it's not gonna solve everything. It's not gonna tell you the future or anything like that. All right, guys, we just hit our second take profit here. You can see, remember, we got in at 35,000, took profit at 35,250, took profit here at 35,500. Our last target is at 35,750. So this is it was cool that this happened while we were live, because we were able to take this trade together here. So hopefully some of you guys were able to grab that trade, that long trade with me. Niruddy says, when is your next live? My next live, we do lives once a week on Tuesdays about the same time, between 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that will likely be our next live. Potentially, I might start streaming more frequently. I would like to do it like 5 times a week, really. But let's see how things go. Giannis, no problem. Appreciate the question. So I think we've pretty much covered everything that we wanted to talk about today, and we even gave you guys a bonus with the trade that happened because based on the movement, because we just had Bitcoin's price drop almost $2,000 while we were live, so we were able to catch a trade with you guys live at $35,000. Opened the position. We also opened the position on Ethereum at 1950 and ride both of those up. Able to take profit twice on Bitcoin. We took profit once on Ethereum so far. So both of those trades were definitely winners, and we're gonna continue playing this level going forward here. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be live once again next Tuesday. So I'll see you guys then. As always, peace and love. No.